No. You, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Neslyn Watson Druee on Radio Works World. Welcome to the Passion Show. And so today, I wish you a very, very, very happy new year, wherever you are in the world. So, what do I mean by passion? Well, without question, passion is both your gateway and your landmark to a very purposeful life. You and I will recognize that people who do great works discover their life's calling by identifying what is their passion. So, for example, remember Mother Teresa? She was so passionate about helping street children that she chose to break off from the convention in which she was living within the coven and went along to really forge her own path. So we recognize that passion drives people to really push forward their purpose and really giving them a compelling urge to discover what they were born to do. So, what do you think of when you hear the word passion? For many of us, it is the very honest answer that is associated with romantic passion. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I am talking about is that burning fire that you feel within you that drives you to do what you do best. That calling that is within you that says that you will do this even if you were not even being paid for it. You can keep going for hours and hours and hours, and it really doesn't feel like work. You tend not to get exhausted when you are really flowing with your passion. So I would like to spend some time with you every Thursday, really focusing on what is it you are really passionate about. I will be asking you some questions and giving you some examples. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Neslyn Druee on The Passion Show. And so this is a very new experience for me. And so I trust that you and I are going to have a wonderful time as we journey together. So, what do I mean by passion? Well, passion, without question, is the gateway to the hallmark of a purposeful life. Well, you and I recognize that the people who have done great feats in life, for example, remember Mother Teresa? Mother Teresa was so passionate about helping street children that she really chose to break away from the convent in which she was in to really set up the path for her own life. So, what do you think about when you hear the word passion? Well, many people will immediately go into the romantic association of passion. What I'm talking about when I talk about passion here, I'm talking about the fire in your belly that really ignites you to do what is it you love. You know, when you're doing what you love, hours without feeling tired. It doesn't feel like work, as a matter of fact. It is your joy. So, my question to you is just take a moment, get yourself a pencil and paper, or pen and paper if you so desire, and write this question down. What is it that gives me joy? Let me repeat it again. What is it that gives me joy? So, for example, for me, some of the things that actually gives me joy are listening to music. I have a passion for really losing myself in listening to music. When I need to get connected with earth and reconnected with myself, I go to the garden. I love gardening. Even in the winter, I live in England, and even in the winter, in the cold moments, I can still go into the garden and have fun because it's my connection with earth. Another thing that gives me joy is learning and teaching at the highest level. So part of my purpose is to develop myself to the highest level that I am capable so that I can support others to develop and learn at the highest level that they are capable. So make a note. What is it that gives you joy? And the question was, as you wrote it down, what is it that gives me joy? Another question. When do I feel closest to my Creator? When do I feel closest to my Creator? And here I'm really inspiring you to begin to form a relationship with yourself, to get to know what is it that really drives you? What is it that gives you that burning desire, that burning feeling to make a difference in life? You know, we can spend so much time honing our minds. We can acquire the latest knowledge and the latest skills, but how often do we give sufficient time to really heal in our hearts? Because, you know, when you are not with your passion, when you are not serving your purpose, when you are not using your passion to serve your purpose, the heart bleeds, the heart cries. And that is why so many people sometimes feel emptiness in their life. The emptiness is that the life doesn't have any meaning. And so what you and I are looking for, and what really guides us when we are with our passion, which then serves our purpose. We feel a strong sensation in our hearts. We passionately love what we do. We feel that we are at one with our Creator. And you recognize that this wonderful sensation is part of your inbuilt navigation system to really track your soul's perspective. And there are so few of us that are making good use of our internal navigation system. So, think clearly and think quite profoundly about what is it that really gives you joy. And make a note, because I would like you to really recognize that you are a unique individual. And your uniqueness, there isn't another one like you. And you came here for a purpose. And your purpose is to serve in whatever way that actually gives you joy. Then, you know, I often say that God needs a body, and it's us. We are the bodies who are here. God needs us to do what needs to be done, because if you are not in alignment with your joy, if you are not in alignment with what is it that makes you feel close to your Creator, you will find that you are just fulfilling other people's needs. And if you are actually just fulfilling other people's needs, then you are not serving your purpose. And it is likely that so many people experience emotional trauma, and some of that emotional trauma comes from fear, it comes from family conditioning, it comes from society condition, and it comes from a sense of obligation, an obligation that you should, you know, that word should, rather than what I want, what is it that I am in alignment with. And when you are operating with the shoulds, they really close you down. They close down our hearts. They close down our hearts in ways in which stops us from really achieving and being in harmony with our abundance. You know, we sometimes close our hearts down in such a way that we've become small. We've crowded ourselves out because we are not listening. We are not listening to that inner voice, that inner intuition about what is meaningful for us. So my next question, what matters most? What really matters most to you? What are your values? Get in touch with what you love. And a quote that I have memorized and I'd like to share with you is from Marianne Williamson. And she says, "Love is the essential reality, and our purpose on earth is really to recognize this, to be consciously aware of love, to experience love in ourselves and others is the meaning of life. Meaning does not lie in things, meaning lies in us." So meaning lies in you, meaning lies in me. So what really matters most? Have you ever found yourself dispirited? There are times we all get to that place. And when you are finding yourself in this place, it's very easy to turn it around, because at its core, the journey to your passion and your purpose is returning to that awareness, to that unique expression of what love is. What is love? What is love for you? When you are being in love with what gives you joy, how does it feel? Your unique expression of love is the only expression that you can really give to the world. This is why self-love is important, because until you love yourself, it is very difficult for you to love another person. Self-love starts with renewing your relationship with your heart. It's important that you undertake the task of remembering what is it you most love and make space for those things in your life. You know, it can sound overwhelming when I say to you, what is it you love? But you know, remember, everything starts with the smallest step. And the smallest step will actually give you ripples. And those ripples will run through your life. Why? Because there are some basic universal truths. And I'll share 4 of them with you. 1, God is love. Yes. You are a child of God. That is the second. You are a child of God. So therefore, you are love. That is a sacred truth. And because it's a sacred truth that you are love and God is love, therefore, the secret to life is to express the love that you are. Remember, you are radiant energy. And when you are in alignment with your passion and with your purpose, you are in alignment with God. I really want to say this again because it is so important. Love is not something you do. It is not just an emotion. It is fundamentally who you are. We are each at our very core here to express love in a way that no other being in the universe can do. This means that when you are ready to get in touch with what you love, you will see it, you will claim it, and you will be committed to it. There is no way that you cannot receive that which you most desire when you are in alignment with your passion and your purpose. Your passion will always lead you to your purpose. And so, it is so important that you commit to being your true self. You know, the Bible says to thine own, to thyself be true. Be committed to yourself, to your true self, your authentic self, not the self that someone else wants you to be. Your authentic self. That self that when you are aligned with it, you are in that space of operating, call it the will of God, and there can be nothing more powerful than that. So if I were to say it another way, it would be about when you are with your passion, you will actually find results. You will find that you are achieving results that are really matching your true intentions. And sometimes you don't even know how they've come about, because the right people turn up in your pathway at the right time and in the right place. So ask yourself this question. Are my intentions aligned with what I love and what I am? Let me ask the question again. I'm asking you to ask yourself this question. And the question is, are my intentions aligned with love and with that what I am? You see, that's a very important question, because your life can only reflect back what is going on deep inside you. Yes, I'll say it again. Your life can only reflect back what is going on deep inside you. I want to remind you that you are a spiritual being here having a human experience. Realize that you are part of God's creation, which is perfect. And so, therefore, within yourself, you are perfect in your passion and in your purpose. You know, I sometimes think that there is a paradox in life. And for me, that is that we are each perfect in our divinity, even as we are imperfect in our humanity. Yes, we are perfect in our divinity, even when we are imperfect in our humanity. So, this understanding does not make your problems disappear. It does not make my problems disappear when we meet them. But what it does is that it gives us a great source of pleasure rather than pain. Because we're really driven in life by two things, by pleasure and by pain. And when you are in pleasure, you then open up your vibrations for good things to be drawn to you. And that's sometimes people talk about the attraction theory. So what I want to say to you is that the Creator is divine. So divinity is in you. God's creation unfolds, and what is right for you will unfold when you align yourself with divine will. Know that nothing, absolutely nothing, no other power can stop what is meant for you. I'll say that again. No other power can stop what is meant for you. And I'll give you a little joke. I'm Jamaican originally. That's where I'm from. Came to England at age 19. And you know, our wise grandparents in particular. I had a grandmother who used to say in very colloquial Jamaican patois, Nez, what is for you can't be unfor you. So what she is saying to me is just what I have just shared with you and reminded you of. That knowing that absolutely no power on earth can stop what is meant for you. When you are truly purposeful about something, there is nothing that can actually keep it from you. So when you are very purposeful with your passion that leads you into your purpose, it opens up a whole space of what I would call heaven and earth, because your abundance flows to you easily and effortlessly. It doesn't mean that you do not have to be engaged. What I am saying here is that when you are engaged with your purpose, with your passion, that life unfolds, life opens up. As I have said before, you find yourself in the right place. The right people are connected with you. Somebody introduces you to somebody, or you get offers, opportunities open up, that you walk through doors that you didn't even think that you could walk through. When your heart's deepest desire is aligned with your vision and your purpose, the things that you desire will be naturally drawn to you. It is that law of attraction. Yes. And that's why it is so important that you stand in your power. And so when I say stand in your power, it is about being on purpose. It is about being aligned with the highest part of yourself. It is about knowing both your humanity and your divinity. It is profound. When you are on purpose and you follow your bliss, doors will be open where you would not imagine that there would be doors. Yes. Think about that. Think about that. So, back to your pencil and paper again, or your pen and paper. I would like you to, or I'd encourage you to get a book and keep it as a journal. And when I ask you certain questions, just write down what comes to mind. So you got the first one. I ask you, what was it that made your heart sing? So what makes your heart sing? So put it another way. What are the unique ways you can access what brings you joy? I'd like you to list about 10 things that really makes your heart sing. 10 activities that you really make you happy, in which you can lose yourself. It can be anything from, I love swimming. I spoke earlier about gardening, but I love swimming. You know, as a girl, I always wanted to learn to ride a bike. And you may be laughing at me by saying that, because you think, this is something that, children learn to do very soon. But I was born in rural Jamaica. And I had a father in particular who was very conscious that girls should not show up their shape. And so therefore the boys actually got on the bikes and learned to ride the bike. But as a girl, as a little girl, I was not allowed to wear trousers. Would you believe it? Yes, I was not allowed to wear trousers because it would show up my shape. And so I desperately wanted to learn to ride a bike. I never did learn to ride a bike in my childhood. I left Jamaica at age 19 and I came into my adult stage. Cut a long story short, at age 60, yes, I am 67 right now, and I went and learned to ride a bike at age 60. It's one of the things that I so enjoy, jumping on my bike and getting into Richmond Park and riding around. In the same way, I learned to swim at a late stage in life. So, it makes the point again, what I had said earlier on, that what is yours will always come to you. So, another question. What inspires you? What inspires you? And why? So I really want you to dig deep on this one. Yes, dig deep. So when I say what inspires you, I'm really asking you to think, what are the qualities you admire? What qualities do you, if you do not yet know, just think about someone who you admire. And think about the qualities that those persons exhibit. And think about that. So spend some time considering why you are inspired by these people. And you know something, when you start to do that work and writing down the qualities that you admire in another person are qualities that are within yourself. And when I work with groups, I have an exercise that I play with them. And I say, walk up to someone and look into their eyes and say, the positive qualities that I see in you that are perfectly reflected in me are, and just name them. And people are often so amazed that what they have been told about the qualities that are in them is so true. So, for example, I would say, and here I am going to pretend now I am talking to a friend. And so I am now going to say, let's name this friend as Eleanor. So I'd say, Eleanor, the positive qualities that I see in you that are perfectly reflected in me are your love, your peace, your attention to details, your attention to high standards of working at the highest level, of being the very best that you can, your joy, the excitement of being the very best that you can be, your radiance. And I could go on and on, but you know something? Those are qualities within me. So think again carefully. When you were a child, what did you always wanted to do or be? So I'm going back to your early years. You see, I can remember very clearly at age 8 that I always wanted to be a nurse. I always wanted to be a nurse. And so it was no surprise at age 19, I left Jamaica to come to England to undertake my nursing career and have been a nurse, midwife, health visitor, health promotion officer, more. But the important thing about nursing here is also about being in service, about caring. And it's not only nurses who care, you know, we should all care. And that is one of the hallmarks of leadership. So I have always wanted to care. And I do care. I do care because I feel so in touch with my I am presence. I feel so in touch with the I am presence of all humanity. And I want to leave a legacy that touches and inspire others to be their best, to bring out the joy within themselves, to be who they are here to be, to know that they are not created at random. I am not created at random. I am created for a purpose. And as I live my purpose, and as I engage with my passion that leads me to my purpose, I am closer and closer to God. I have found that even when people have had difficult childhoods and they can usually find at least one memory of being in the flow, of losing track of time in one pursuit or another. It may be that the feeling state is more important. So, for example, can you remember being really excited about Christmas? Being excited about Christmas morning? Why was that? What was that curiosity? My point here is I am encouraging you to regain your connection with who you are, with who you were before you took on outside influences, before you closed down part of your heart, if you have closed down part of your heart, and getting in touch. So connection, and that takes courage. That takes courage. In my leadership quotes, I have 7 areas. And I start off with courage. And I say, courage is the first step to leadership. And then I go on and I talk about connection. And then I talk about caring. And it's the same principles that I'm sharing here with you. When I ask you, when and where do you feel closest to your Creator? Another way to say this is, when do you most strongly feel that you are in loving presence in your life? For some of us, it may be when we are in community with friends. It may be when you are in solitude with nature. It may be when you are looking at art. Whatever it is that which you are connected with. That is love. And as I said earlier, it is who love is who you are. So here's another question. When in your life do you feel a sense of awe? And it comes back to my earlier question around when do you feel most closest to your Creator? But I'm taking it a little bit deeper. When I say, when in your life do you feel a sense of awe and wonder? Don't. And then I would encourage you to say, and how do you tap into those feelings more and more? It would be wonderful if you were living 90% of your life with what gives you that sense of awe and wonder, and let everything else drop by. So, in other words, I'm saying you drop all the things that do not serve you. So, here's a next deep question. If you knew the service you were here to give to Earth and all sentient beings, what would that service be? Let me say the question again. If you knew the service you were here to give to Earth and all sentient beings, what would that service be? Deep question. And another way of asking the same question is to say, in what ways do you feel called to be of service to others? I feel called to be of service to others through my writing, through my speaking, and seeking out people whose vibrations are in harmony with mine. More and more, I am learning that harmony is so important for me, that when I am with other vibrations who does not serve me, it really does screw me up. And I learn to walk away from those people. So be in your body, feel your feelings, know what gives you joy. When your body gives you the indication that circumstances and situations are not right for you because it really disturbs your peace, then I encourage you to take note. Take note and walk away from those things. Because when you walk away from those things, you will walk towards what serves you. Think also clearly about who are the people, past and present, who in your view have made the greatest contribution, and why. So it is very similar to the question I asked you before when you look at the qualities that you admire in others. When you look at people and you begin to assess from your point of view that they have made great contributions, you will recognize that those are qualities and those are contributions that are part of your deeply held values, and it is what motivates you. So you can begin to mirror those as your own if you wish. So, as I am opening up a number of questions for you around your passion and your purpose, I want to remind you that a passionate life is a life that is worth living. A passionate life is a life that opens doors for you that you could never imagine that there were doors. A passionate life brings you closest to your Creator. A passionate life serves you in the highest and best ways. A passionate life enables you to be confident because you are doing what you love and you're loving what you do. And when you're doing what you love and loving what you do, you are confident, you are unstoppable. A passionate life opens up your spirituality. By that I mean your recognition that you are connected in many and various ways. A passionate life bestows your abundance to you. Abundance. And the natural law of the universe is abundance. Irrespective of what is going on in the economy and the limitations that we bring, the universe is abundant. And when you are your true self, your authentic self, with your passion as your solar power that drives you, your abundance flows to you easily and effortlessly. A passionate life is a life where you recognize the divinity within you and the divinity within others. A passionate life bestows your good to you. A passionate life opens up your access to be of service and to have a meaningful life. So, service comes in many ways. You can be, some of us are better gardeners than we are teachers. Some of us are better parents. Some of us love art, so it's again what makes your heart sings. A passionate life is a life that brings the light within you, and your light shines out so that others can see. A passionate life opens up opulence to you. Opulence in the sense of what is beautiful. And what? Yes, beauty. Beauty, abundance, and opulence. The nature is opulent. Look at the perfection of a rose. And as I said to you, I love gardening, so I will use lots of gardening metaphors. Look at a flower, the beauty of a flower. Nature is opulent. And when you and I are able to be in alignment with what gives us joy, what makes our heart sings, and be in alignment with earth, with Mother Earth, and be in alignment with the goodness that there is, we can not help ourselves, but experience the goodness in life and the opulence in life. So I say, expect the best and have high standards. Have high standards. Go for the best. And in going for the best, you draw the best to you. Les Brown actually says, shoot for the stars. And when you shoot for the stars, you may actually land on the moon. But it is taking you that level higher. So I would like to leave you today with that which I've shared. I have shared with you the importance of being in alignment with your passion, and that your passion leads you to your purpose. I've asked you some key questions to help you to get in touch with your passion. And I have asked you the questions such as, what is it that gives you joy? What is it that makes your heart sing? So that was one of my first questions. And then I went on to ask you another question about, what is it that inspires you and why? And I ask you to dig really deep, and I ask you to keep a journal and to make note of it, and to look at these qualities that inspires you. And if you felt that you could find them in yourself, what is it that's the qualities that you admire in other people? And then I have said to you, those are qualities that are within you. And then I spoke about a little exercise that I share with groups when I get people to pair up, and each person relates to the other and say the positive qualities that I see in you that are reflected in me are, and you just say what comes to your heart. You don't go into your head and try to work it out. You just be in the flow and say what comes, and you find that there are qualities within you that you see in others. I asked you a third question, and that was, when you were a child, what did you always wanted to do or be? And I shared with you that when I was 8, as early as age 8, I had always known that I actually wanted to be a nurse. And I said to you that nursing is about caring, and that there are many occupations and professions that have a caring element. I also said to you that for me, it is also getting in touch with my inner child. And I encourage you to get in touch with your inner child and to get to know your inner child and have a strong relationship with your inner child. I also said to you that it's important that you really regain the connection with who you are, your authentic self, the person who you are before you took on any of the influences from outside. And I said sometimes some outside influences, if you're living other people's dreams that they have for you rather than living your dream, that it can actually close your heart down. And when it closes your heart down, your light does not shine. So come out and play. Come out and play by getting in touch with who you are. I then ask you another question about, when do you feel most closest to your creator? What is it that gives you a loving presence in your life? And it's important that you get in touch with this. I then ask you a follow-up question which deepens this. And I said, what is it that gives you a sense of awe and a sense of wonder? And if you knew the service that you were here to give on earth and all sentient beings, what would that service be? So in another way, I was saying to you, what is it you feel called to be of service to others? And are you living your life that way? Or are you ignoring your calling? And so I then moved on to say to you that when you look at some of the people who you consider who have given the greatest contribution, those are qualities that are there within you. And so use those to guide the legacy that you would like to leave behind. And then I went on to relate to you what a passionate life is about. And I just spoke from my heart what came to me about a passionate life. A passionate life is a life of loving what you do and loving who you are being. So doing what you love and loving who you are being in alignment with your passion, which actually leads you to your purpose. I spoke about a passionate life. When you are in a passionate life, you are confident. You are confident because you are doing what you love and you're loving what you do. When a passionate life, that you are radiating radiance. Yes, you are radiating the radiance that of who you are and who you are here to be. There is no other person like you. Your fingerprints are unique. Your voice is unique. You may actually have the same cultures with another person. You may have similar dialects, but your voice is unique. And so you are unique. You are just so unique in this world. And you are here for a purpose. God needs a body. And the God in you is here to express and to be of service. I have thoroughly appreciated this opportunity. And I want to say thank you to Marina Nani, who I see as an angel on earth, who has created this opportunity for me to share my little heart out with you about a passionate life. I feel so blessed. Thank you, Marina. Thank you. Thank you for being of service to humanity. Thank you for creating the space and opening up opportunities for us to love and share and be our unique selves, our authentic selves. And being our unique and authentic selves, we then add to the galaxy of stars. Thank you for being so passionate about serving humanity. And I trust that over the weeks and months and years to come, we will deepen our connection and our relationship through Radio W.O.R.K.S world. So wherever you are, in whatever time zone you are in, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Until next week. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.